You're watching Notepad with me, Ibrahim Sani. We are covering the story of education and how the country is moving forward when it comes to training Malaysians, when it comes to the new age of an endemic status. Over the past few years, we've seen how jobs and talents have seen a mind shift when it comes to requiring or what the companies of today needs. Because of this, I have the pleasure of inviting Dr. Amina Josetta Kayani, the Director of Strategy and Engagement at Yayasan Peneraju. How are you, Dr. Amina?
I'm very well, thank you.
Let's talk a little bit more about Yayasan Peneraju. What do you guys do?
Well, we actually are in the business of developing talent. So it's all about identifying what the market needs and developing programs so that we can churn out talent to fit those needs.
Okay. I'm sure you don't work alone. You work with your partners.
So we work with a team of 70. And we generally work with a greater ecosystem of talent builders in the market, in the government, industry, SMEs and all that. So we have lots of collaborators.
Let's talk about the collaborators. What kind of collaborators are you working with?
Okay, for one, we have the industry players. So that goes back to what the market actually needs. So we have identified the critical industries in which we want to actually place our talent. And then we also have the civil service society organizations. We have NGOs. We have, of course, government agencies. And now we are moving into the global scene as well. So international, collaborators as well.
Okay, so when we talk about collaborators, to what extent are they working with you guys? Are they providing talent placements? Are they working in terms of giving facility to you guys so that you can work with some of your scholars? How does it work?
Okay, historically I would say it was pretty linear. So we started off with the typical tripartite relationship. So we are the funders and we have the vendors who are either the academic institutions or the training partners, so they offer the programs. And then we have the scholars who are the beneficiaries from the program. But now it's grown beyond that, so we invite more with collaborative partnerships where they come in and be like more of joint venture relationships with us. So we bring different kind of values to the table. Let me give you an example. So with collaborative partnerships in terms of employment, we work directly with the last mile, so where the employment is, where the opportunities for jobs and gaining an income. So we identify which are the areas and we develop skill sets in those areas together collaboratively with these partners, where they actually either funnel with the training partners itself, because they know what kind of talent do they need, right? So they actually put in terms of design, development, the trainers and all that. And together we will actually produce this talent which end up having a job at the end of the line.
Okay, so we now know the role of the collaborators and the partners that you guys are building with. My next question is on how has the experiences been with your partners when they work with Yayasan Peneraju?
Quite varied, I have to say. It really depends on what kind of value they bring to the table. But the experiences are getting more colorful as we speak, because as I said, historically it's very, very straightforward, but now it's like multi-dimensional, the kind of value they bring to the table. And they have actually shown a lot of interest lately, especially with our ability to work with data and decisions in which programs to actually invest in and design, develop, has gone away from the typical, one size fits all. So what we essentially try to do is we go closer to where the problem is. So for example, in certain geographical areas, certain states in Malaysia, they need talent to be developed in a particular field. So what we do is we actually go closer to the market, tie up with partners from those local states, because they know what the problem is, what the problems are, and they also know how to actually address the specific demographics that we're looking at. And because we are doing that, it becomes a more customized program developed to suit the talent needs of the particular area that we're looking at. Yeah. So
Okay, there's still plenty more to discuss, but for now we'll go for one short break. When we come back, we'll discuss a bit more with, before we go on our conversation with Yayasan Peneraju. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back. I have with me in the studio Dr. Amina Josetta Kayani, the Director of Strategy and Engagement at Yayasan Peneraju. Dr. Amina, we're still talking about some of the partners that you're working with, particularly the collaborative partners that are currently in Yayasan Peneraju. What kind of opportunities do Yayasan Peneraju open for collaborative partners when partnering? Could you name some partners? At least we get some ideas of what's happening.
okay, maybe I can take you around the country to see what we do with the partners. In the eastern states, specifically Kelantan and Terengganu, we partner up with the state foundations, so Yayasan Terengganu, Yayasan Kelantan, and we actually leverage on their database of talent and B40 groups which need and require the programs to upskill and reskill themselves, especially post-pandemic. With the pandemic, they have lost their jobs or gone under employment, or either that or basically are just unemployed after graduation. So what we essentially do is leverage on their know-how and intel to partner up and offer programs. Going south, in Johor, for example, we are very proud of a very good partnership that we have stricken off with Port Tanjung Pelepas. The port industry is one of the most resilient throughout COVID, and we've seen how they actually are in demand of talent. It's just that not much of attention and traction is given over there. So what we did with them was essentially partner up in a JV kind of model and develop programs to churn out port planners and young engineers for the port. And they go through like an apprentice program, which takes about 6 to 8 months. And after which, upon successful completion, they land a job. So that's the partnership in Johor. And of course, we are growing into the Iskandar region, and there's a lot of demand for talent there as well. Moving up to the north, we have partnerships with Kulim High Tech in the Mekki, whereby we are actually funneling our assistance and ability to work with talent development strategically, to work hand in hand with the country's agenda to pull in foreign direct investment into areas like Kulim High Tech. Going to Sabah and Sarawak, we are working very closely with their talent because, of course, we really need to have, really important to have local partners there. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to identify and get the buy-in, right? So identifying, talent demographics and demand for talent from Yayasan Sabah, in particular, Sabah Skills, and also the same for Sarawak.
Okay. On top of this, I'm pretty sure that there are more in store in the pipeline. What kind of partners are you imagining or envisioning that you will be striking up next?
Really, we are looking at working with partners who are able to join hands with us and to work more strategically with data and to come closer to closing that gap. Because, I mean, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but the industry academic gap and problem is real and it's still there. So to close that gap, we need partners to be able to bring us intel to say where is it that we need demand, and we have to be able to look ahead instead of just being reactive to it. So working with predictive analytics beyond what we are doing right now, just diagnostic and prescriptive, because we are always treating the problem, but instead we should be able to anticipate where the gaps are in the future, and we want to work with partners who are able to do that with us, so that we are ahead of time. You know, so essentially that, to work more strategically
with data.
With data.
What about soft skills? What about the ability to collaborate with partners at the workplace? Those kind of soft ideas.
Yeah, so that's one of the strengths I would say Yayasan Peneraju has, to actually couple up and package our solutions. When I say solutions, I'm referring to the programs, to not only focus on the technical parts of it. So we always infuse it with the soft skills, or I like to borrow the term smart skills from Asia Business School, because it's so much as, you know, when you're able to upskill, you're infusing the talent with technical know-how, right? All these certifications, you know, for example, robotics, you've got drone, you've got AutoCAD and all that, and IR 4.0, name it. But the thing is, with the ecosystem at work and even in business, we have to work with people. There's no running away from that. So soft skills is just so important. And coming back to the term smart skills, it's something to be honed, and it will enable our talent who is skilled with this technical know-how to move in and to be adaptable and future ready all the time. When I say future ready, because the environment keeps changing, right? With technology, with the change of industry demand, customer preferences and all that, we've got a moving goalpost. And how do we keep sustainable? How do we ensure that this talent will be adaptable, right? If they are able to actually develop that skill set, the smart skills to be able to work with people critically, be good decision makers, to be able to problem solve, to actually be emotionally intelligent, you know, that is one of the, by far, the most important thing. So people always say, you know, working with technology is easy, actually, working with people isn't. So that part we give emphasis. We call it the NDP at Yayasan Peneraju, Nurture and Development Program. So every single program that we offer, we infuse it, we package it with the soft skills, which we call NDP.
All right. It seems that much of what you're doing is institutionalized. This is important in order for this project or program to be replicatable, but how nimble are you, or how dynamic is the program in order for it to receive new input and further refine the program to be better in the future?
Yeah, very, very on-point question there, Ibrahim. As we speak, we are recognizing the need to work that way, you know, with all the skill sets that we are trying to build in the talent for the market. We're doing it internally first. So what we're doing right now is revisiting and restructuring the organization to unlock the potential even more, to work nimble, you're right, absolutely there, agile, and to be adaptable to the current times. So of course, it's like a given that every organization, the longer you are in existence, the more bureaucracy you have, right? So to unlock that, to review the business processes so that we are able to move fast forward faster, but without compromising controls, of course. So sometimes people say it's easier to rip up the old playbook and start off with a, you know, with a new one, because it has to be redefined according to the current ecosystem of work. And essentially, we are working close to that in Yayasan Peneraju.
Fantastic. We'll go for one more short break before we continue on our conversation with Yayasan Peneraju. We'll be right back after these messages. Thanks for staying on with us. I have with me Dr. Amina of Yayasan Peneraju. Dr. Amina, there's a lot of CEOs that have sat where you sit right now, and all of them are looking forward to restarting the business altogether in 2022. Many of them say the same thing, that this year is going to be the year of recovery, that we are going to move into an endemic situation where we live with COVID. But there's one more similarity that many of the CEOs keep on mentioning, which is that they can't find the talent that they need for their company. And this is a bit strange for me, because if you look at the unemployment numbers, we're talking 51,000 Malaysians that have not yet gotten a job for the past 1 year. We're also looking at 4, maybe even 5% of youth unemployment. We're also looking at underemployment reaching double digits. So there seems to be a whole host of Malaysians and PR residents that might not be able to find jobs, but the CEOs here are scratching their heads trying to figure out how to get people into their company. there's a huge mismatch and a huge gap that we're talking about. Now, I know that you spoke a little bit more about how data, how soft skills needed, emotional intelligence is needed earlier on before the break. But moving forward, how do you think Yayasan Peneraju's role is going to be when it comes to closing this gap between what the market needs versus what we have right now in the market?
I think I would start with identifying skill sets need according to a particular rubrics or ruler. And most of the companies, the reason why they can't find talent, I would say, is they keep on going back to the same old performance metrics, and the metrics that they are looking for is defined according to the previous standards. So the more dynamic organizations, how they are closing this skills mismatch, is that they are defining jobs and roles according to the skill set needs instead of qualifications. And why I'm bringing this up is because Yayasan Peneraju has actually moved away from that typical definition of talent demand and market needs by putting our emphasis on skill sets, which is one of our biggest thrusts, as we call it at Yayasan Peneraju. We call it the skill trust, where we go straight to the definition of skill sets required out there, the technical skill sets, and then we go straight also to the industry and help them define what exactly are their talent demand needs so that we match that. So this TNA and talent demand needs is not spelled out correctly, and that's where the mismatch actually happens, because we are in that mode of transition. So the same thing goes for universities. They are slowly seeing the, I would say, diminishing demand for academic qualifications. Not to say they're not going to be relevant anymore, but they are going to be threatened if they keeping to the old model of operations. If the focus is only on qualifications and courses and not skill sets that's developed from those, they are not going to make it out there. So you would see that the smaller institutions and universities which are able to unlock and unbundle their programs, and they're going into micro-credentials, they are making it. They are closing that skill, mismatch out there in the market, and what their talent is churned out to the market. Yeah.
Do you feel that this is industry specific or it's just across the board?
I would say it's across the board. But of course, you've got the ones who are more pressed to hire for skills, and the ones who are still resting, and you would find the stability that some of the demographics will be comfortable with. So it really goes into coming back to the argument that our programs and solutions and identifying where the gaps are is not a one-size-fits-all kind of solution. We have to be really zero in to match across talent needs and demand to the talent supply which is out there, and identifying that, you know, that match within the triangle. People always say you go to this triangle of passion, capacity and opportunity, and if you can match all three, that will be perfect. The generation today that we see are no longer like us before. You know, we had pretty much everything spelled out for us, and you know, it can be seen as a very strong disadvantage, but I mean, that's how it was, you know, 30 years ago when I hit the university. And I think that the generation today, they are more capable of making that decision, and all the more we have to go back to what exactly do they aspire to do. But aspiration also comes in with awareness, and at Yayasan Peneraju, that's another focus and emphasis that we try to help out, because we recognize the fact that not everybody in society will have that access to that awareness, because they only know of, you know, opportunities to learn employment and jobs and industries, or what they see around them. And so if we are wanting to, you know, produce more heroes, like we like to say, zero to hero, we need to give them that awareness first, build the confidence, have more success stories shared, and then only bring them closer to the end goal by matching across their capacity and talent capacity can be grown with a certain limit, of course. But I think passion is something which will be very important to have them, see it through, because we don't want to just, admit people to programs and have them fall through halfway along the way, or even worse, complete the whole program and say, no, I don't want to do this. This is not something that I chose.
But people change their minds all the time, right?
Precisely. I mean,
so what's wrong with that?
If we focus on skill sets, they are able to do that. I mean, like, I really feel that, if we actually focus on developing talent from that skill set angle instead of qualification, there's nothing that should define your career. Just because you had a degree in accounting doesn't mean you have to end up becoming an accountant or staying in that field. You know what I mean? It's defining your career according to the skill sets that you've built throughout the journey.
There's also that element of the entrepreneurial spirit amongst young Malaysians and perhaps even the young people around the world. There could be a reason why they want to not be in a corporate setting. It's because they want to build something, a business, an idea, and the passion can be derived from that activity. Do you feel that that could be an area of, I guess, interest for Yayasan Peneraju as well?
Absolutely. I mean, like, of course, our current mandate is to develop talent in certain sectors, and we have other agencies looking after the entrepreneur sector. But I feel that, it is not that easy to really draw out the demarcations of what a person or a talent can actually do or explore. To me and to Yayasan Peneraju, we try and develop holistic individuals, and entrepreneurship is definitely the way to go. Like a lot of talent have that traction and they gravitate towards all these startup cultures and success stories, funding and all that. So that is why we are also coming up with programs and the soft skills development to infuse them with the knowledge on the how, the A to Z. You want to have a small startup, what do you have to do? What is it? What are the skills that will help you through? You want to be ambitious, you want to grow, and you want to, go for funding, you go through the seed rounds, the series A and B, and go to listing. Yes, we give them the knowledge, because it does not suffice to just empower them with the technical know-how. They can actually come up with some idea, very innovative solution with technology, and then after that, what happens? Just imagine if we empower them with the additional knowledge on how to monetize that particular innovation that they have, commercialize it, and think like a businessman. So that's why it's so important to tie up all these relevant skill sets and fields, and then they are able to be more entrepreneurial. So enterprising is another skill set that we are actually after at Yayasan.
Okay. My final question to you is this, on the idea of Yayasan Peneraju today versus what you guys envision to be yourself in the future. How do you envision the Yayasan Peneraju brand to be sustainable and relevant, not just for this year, but beyond?
Sustainability will come in with confidence. And I envision Yayasan Peneraju will be able to do that, because at the moment, I think the bar is being raised by Yayasan. The working together with collaborators and in a more strategic way, and we have the opportunity to prove it to them how closely we are working with the problem. So again, customized solutions, and it will bring and gravitate more collaborators to come and work together with us, because they are able to see the value that we bring to the table, the kind of value that we bring to the industry players who require a specific skill set and demand, and we are actually developing talent specific to that. And it's not like just casting a net and then saying, okay, we're just going to churn out like X number of accountants and engineers and data scientists and all that. We are going to tell a company to say, okay, this is what we can produce. What are the specific parameters and definitions and skill sets that you require, and we can tailor it for you. So bespoke solutions, and that's how we will actually brand ourselves to be out there, to have these strategic solutions out there. Yeah.
Fantastic. I really do wish you guys all the best. We've seen how Yayasan Peneraju has grown from year to year, strength to strength. but I'm pretty sure the pandemic years have been a bit strange for you guys because it's a strange, same thing for all of us. But yeah, 2022 is a year of recovery. We really do wish that everybody's going to take this opportunity to reach out to Yayasan Peneraju, go to their website, find out more about the kind of programs that you can get your hands on there. There's also a lot of solutions and customer service people in Yayasan Peneraju that can answer all your queries. Do check their website out. But for now, that was our conversation with Dr. Amina Josetta Kayani, the Director of Strategy and Engagement at Yayasan Peneraju. If you've missed any part of this interview, just head on to astroawani.com, look for Notepad over there. You can also look for Yayasan Peneraju on our social sites and our website as well. Till then, thanks very much for watching. Catch you in the next one.